wait for more folks to jump in and join us. Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tech Day 2020, Day 2. The title of this session is Enhancing Email Security. I want to begin by mentioning that this session is being recorded. This session is sponsored by Proofpoint. Proofpoint provides enterprise security solutions to help protect organizations across email, cloud, social media, and mobile devices. For more information, visit proofpoint.com. At the end of this session, please fill out the prompted survey to be placed in an opportunity drawing to win an AirCharge Plus battery pack donated by Proofpoint. During this session, please use the Q&A feature to submit questions. We will answer as many as we can after the presentation. I would now like to introduce our speaker. Pablo Revilla is a senior security engineer and email systems architect with Proofpoint. Welcome, Pablo. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me. All right. Again, thanks for inviting me. I really enjoyed coming back. Last year we had a great season, a great meeting, and I'm glad to be back. So should I go ahead and start my share? Perfect. Let's go ahead and start. So today what we're going to talk about is email security. The goal of this session is to give you an understanding of the landscape, we call it, which is basically what's going on with emails today and email security and email scams and fraud, and then give you some examples that you can look at, so that will help you recognize it if it does ever shows up on your mailbox, right? And then some action items that you can take to prevent yourself, to learn about email security, to learn how to protect yourself in this regard. So I do have a question for you, and this question's not, you don't have to answer. I want you to think about it. And it's, what is the hacker's favorite season? So think about it for a few seconds. And then there's the dad joke, right? Fishing season. This is the season that they really enjoy. And guess what? Fishing season is open all year long. All right. So as you can imagine, they really are enjoying the fact that they can come in and at any time try to get something out of you. And when we think about phishing, when we think about scams, we're going to actually talk about a little broader term. They mention it as business email compromise. So we can change that B and put like a U and university email compromise or college email compromise, right? Think about it that way. And that really encompasses all kinds of scams that are being used by the bad guys. We call them threat actors. I'm going to try to call them bad guys because that's more, I think, really explain it in a simpler way. The bad guys used to get certain things from you and from me, which is basically either money, right, or information, right? They want to do that, or they want to use our account and our services to somebody else. So here you see all these things that that the threat actors are doing or the bad guys are doing in a visual way. When it gets to actual how much money the threat actors are doing on with this. In the last 5 years, this has gone exponentially almost high, right? It's 2,000 times the amount of money they're making. So in 2015, they made $1.2 billion. Today, or the last time we checked, which is in 2019, right? It was $26 billion. So they are emboldened by this. They're being really successful, and they continue to work on this. Our job, my job as Proofpoint, and the school and the end users, everybody, is to educate ourselves and protect ourselves against this. Okay. So we're going to talk about a couple different ways that the threat actors do this. I'm going to give you some examples so that you can see them, and then we're going to look a little bit of how we can protect ourselves against this. So there's really two ways that the bad guys are coming at us and at you, trying to get something out of you, which is they are pretending to be you or pretending to be somebody else communicating with you, right? And that would be, they use different techniques like domain spoofing, display name spoofing. I'm going to show you an example, lookalike domains, things like that, right? Those are the techniques they use. Or they actually will compromise your account, what we call a technical compromise. They actually get your username and password. Now they log in as you, and they actually become you to an extent, right? Now they're you. They're actually coming in and looking for doing the same thing, like get somebody else's credentials, or request a routing number change, or take some of the information that you have, right? Maybe you actually are collecting data, or you have access to data. They can have access to that data too, right? So that's the other way that they do it. So whether pretending to be you, or actually after a compromise, after having your credentials actually being you, and those are the two ways that the bad actors are, the bad guys are really accessing people's financial information, personal information. Okay. How do they do it? This is just for you guys. These are the 4 stages they use. It's pretty simple. They first do reconnaissance, and this is especially easy for universities. A lot of the information about the staff, the faculty, just about everybody is in directories that they can access. They're publicly available. So they use that information. They know the organizational chart. They know who reports to whom, and then they use that information to weaponize, whether it be an email, a text message, a WhatsApp message, whatever method they're using to send you that deception, right? That part where they're going to try to get you to do something. And then the next level is delivery. That's when Proofpoint comes in. When it gets to email, we block it there, and we try to block everything there. And then if something gets through, then the exploitation comes around, and that is when they're trying to use that weaponized message or lure to actually get you to do something. If you actually are able to not to believe the deception they're trying to do, that's where the exploitation doesn't work. So our job is to keep it from going there. Your job as a user is to be aware of the different deception techniques, because if you stop it there, then the deception doesn't work. Okay. So we're going to talk about, again, those two kinds of deceptions or attacks, and they are all basically trying to take the identity of either a student that is going to be reaching out to his or her department, or a faculty or staff reaching out to the student. Those are the two samples that we're going to talk about today. And also, it could be potentially another kind, where it's somebody you don't know reaching out to you, right? And they can do it through impersonation, compromise, like we talked about in the previous slide. And then the themes of the lures, they vary quite a bit. And we're going to talk about the ones that are relevant to Fullerton, so that the things that I'm going to talk about are things that I see in your environment. I also work with other CSUs, and I see them in their environment too. Okay. So this is a case of impersonation. We're going to define it a little bit. So impersonation attacks are emails that attempt to impersonate a trusted individual or company to gain access to finances or data, right? So how do they do that? They use different types, spoofing the name right? It's a very common type. So in this example here, you see that the email is coming from billing@staples.com. That's actually not where it's coming from. You'd be surprised, but emails, it's fairly lenient on what you put on the where it's coming from, and you can put anything you want. You can spoof it, and the bad guys are of course taking advantage of that. So don't necessarily trust something because it says there that's coming from billing@staples.com. That may not be correct, right? The targets are usually internal or external. They can also be targeting one of the vendors you work with, partners you work with. The bad guys could be impersonating you, saying, "Hey, I'm part of the school. I want to do this." And then we're going to talk about a few of the schemes that they're using. And I'm going to show you samples of every single one of these so you have an idea of how they look like and what you can do to detect them and protect yourself against them. Direct deposit per payroll redirect, that's very common. That is particular to the payroll department and maybe HR finances, right? The gift carding technique they use, that is applies to all of us, students, teachers, faculty, staff. Extortion and fake emails. This one right here is an example of a fake email. This isn't really a Staples, and it's asking, and it'll come out with an invoice, and they'll give you an account number, and usually usually there might be a sense of urgency in there. You got to pay this right away, or you'll be delinquent, right? The ways they're going to get the money out of you or the system is either going to be through a wire transfer, a gift card exchange, or a cryptocurrency. And those are the three main ways that they're getting paid. Okay. So let's go through a few examples here. This is gift carding. Somebody impersonating a coworker or somebody who you report to and asking you to do something. What do they ask you to do? In most cases, what they're going to ask you is for a gift card. And they're going to say, "Hey, I need to get a gift card, my nephew's birthday. Hey, I need you to get an iTunes card or eBay card. It's my niece's birthday. Can you help me with this?" Right? And of course, we're all trying to be helpful. We understand, that people are busy. I can do this for you. Then they'll actually ask you to take a picture of the card, scratch the number in the back, send it to them. And then they will go ahead and get that, use it. The bad guys get the money, and you lost your money. Okay, and you can see samples of that a lot. They will go all the way. They will even give you, and these are all samples that I got from CSU schools. So things that are coming your way, we are blocking them, but they let you know that are coming your way. And in this case, in the last case, they use things like veteran hospice, right? They're talking about coronavirus. They're trying to make you feel guilty and responsible and emotionally do something for them, okay? The next example I want to show you is the president dean impersonation. We see this a lot. The dean is sending an email to the students or to his or her staff asking for a favor. And this one was interesting, is the one I showed you before. They're impersonating the president of the National Association of Professional Gerontologists. This person, it's a real person. She actually has an email address from San Francisco State University. I would say that, if you happen to work with this person in the past and they're asking you something like this, again, trying to make you feel guilty about COVID and things of that nature, you might go ahead and say, "You know what, why not? I want to try to help." And then that is when the threat actors get their money. This is another one from that actually went to you guys, and it is at the dean department, right? And it's that email address is not the dean department email address; it's a fake address. And they're asking for something interesting here. And this is another one of the things I wanted to mention and make sure that you guys remember about this session. They're asking for a cell phone number. Why are they asking for a cell phone number? Their goal here is to get your cell phone number. Once they have your cell phone number, now instead of using email to communicate with you, they're going to send you a text message. Now, your school, your IT team, Proofpoint, all the protections that we might have now are out of the picture. Is between you, the threat actor, and your cell phone provider, right? So we lost track of this. We don't know what's going on. And they are way more successful once they get that cell phone number. At that point, they can send you a link with a button for you to click. They can ask you to use one of the tools that you have on your cell phone to send them money. It's easy, convenient. For you, it's easy. It's one button. You don't have to do anything. Just click, 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 done, right? So they make it easy for you. Their success rate goes up. So if you get an email that is asking you about gift cards, that is asking you about sending some money, if they also ask you about your cell phone number and they say, hey, can I have your cell phone number? Those are big indicators that you are actually most likely talking to a bad guy, a threat actor, rather than the person they claim to be. Okay, so be super aware of those things. When you see them there, know that the chances of that being a real person, that the person you're thinking it is, it's not. So gift cards, cell phone numbers, those are things to keep in the back of your mind as you're looking at your email. This specific case that we see a lot, it is specific to payroll. And what they do here is they want to basically request a payroll direct deposit change. What they're going to do, they're going to say, hey, can you change my routing number? You might send them the form, they fill out the form, they give you a fake check with their routing number information and everything, and the routing gets changed, payday comes in, right? Instead of paying the employee, the staff, the student, whatever, they pay somebody else. They pay the bad guy. You will wait a couple days, I'm usually get paid on this day, but I'm not getting paid on this day. I'll give it an extra day or so. And then you engage your payroll department. That's going to take another day, right? To get it all worked out, to figure out what really happened to that payment. By then it's been 2-3 days, the money is gone. Okay, so they're very successful. If they get that routing number changed, they're getting their money. Very successful for them, which really emboldens them, makes them more likely to use this technique. So, as a payroll person, this is something that always look for and be aware. The other one that I wanted to talk about is the account compromise. So the ones that we talked about are basically impersonating. They're telling you it's so and so, it's me, you know me, but it's really not, right? This one is the account compromise. Is when they actually have the credentials. And the way that one of these account compromise usually works is you get an email. In this case, it's me. So I got an email. The email comes from my mail admin or comes from help desk, Proofpoint or something like that, right? And it's saying, hey, Pablo, we're going to suspend your account because you need to validate your credentials. And I'm like, oh, wow, I don't want my email to be suspended, right? This is really important to me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to click on that button, make sure that I continue to receive mail. It's important. And what do I get? I get a login, whether it be Google Suite or Office 365, and it's going to have my name in there, and I'm going to put my password. I'm going to hit next. And now my account is compromised. This is going to forward me back to the Office 365 login. I felt like, oh, maybe I put my password wrong, what have you. I'm going to put it again, go in. I did my duty. They asked me to log in. I guess that's all I have to do. Okay, I'm done, good. But what happens meanwhile? Now the threat actor has my username and password. They log in and they ask for a redirect deposit. A direct deposit redirect, right? They ask for for the accounting or the payroll department to do that redirect. And now it's coming from me. It's legitimate. I can look at it. It's got my picture, some of the rules that I use normally. Well, maybe your finance department or payroll department use. It's to make sure that it is an internal user and the email is coming internally. They might send me that form to fill out. I fill out the form. It all looks really good. And guess what? I don't really, me as the person that works in this case or the HR person doesn't really know that I'm not dealing with Pablo, right? And then the money gets lost. Or they might just look for one of my peers. They have my email. They can log in and see all my emails, see who I work with. and say, you know what, Pablo talks to so-and-so on that other department. They're not next to each other, actually in a different city. I can ask for a quick task, i.e. gift card, and he will never know, that person will never know it wasn't Pablo. They go for that, and again, they get money, and they can do that over and over and over to all the contacts I might have and be very successful. Good. The other example, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit too, because we don't see them as often, but there are other flavors of attacks. They might not, they don't come from a staff or a student or faculty. They actually come from somebody you don't know. And extortion is usually the case, and I'm going to show you a couple examples. So what happens? You get an email from somebody that says, hey, your account has been compromised. We've been looking at you for months. We got we got control over your machine. We see what you're looking at. We got your camera. We got your keyboard. You're owned. And we also have all your contacts and your social network contacts. And we know a lot of dirt about you. And unless you pay me some money to a Bitcoin account, right? Of course, it's not traceable. We're going to release that to all your contacts, all the people that know you. That could be in a scary event, right? You know, we all have something to hide. So what do? You feel somebody's basically, putting you on the spot. You might say, I gotta give them the money. Sometimes I've seen threats like this in which they actually give you passwords. Hey, and this is your password as a proof that they own your account. Those passwords are actually from breaches, and those passwords are sadly public domain in most cases, or can be easily bought. So that even gives them a little more credibility. Oh, I remember I used that password for Google email or for my LinkedIn. My goodness, how did they find that? Oh, maybe they do own me. This is not true. They don't own you. They have no idea. They are just trying to scare you, using tactics, using what is out there, right? They know there's a lot of misinformation about security and being hacked and alerts like that. All they want to do is, get a small subset of the people to actually respond and make their money. Okay, so this is when you get an email like this, a threatening email asking you for Bitcoin, ignore it. There's nobody out there. You can send it to your help desk. You can send it to the security team. But in most cases, in all cases I've ever seen, this is just a scam. Do not pay it. Okay. One more example that I wanted to give you guys, and this is what we call the romance scam or the advanced fee scam. And there are many flavors of this, but you think of that, Nigerian prince that ask you, hey, I got a lot of money for you, but first you have to send me something. That would be the advance fee. We've seen examples, and this is something that it's more, could maybe relate a little more to you guys as a student. We've seen examples of propositions for internships. Hey, we have an internship for you. And they can have a lot of good information about there in regards to who is doing the internship. It goes through many layers. They can even have some paperwork. At the end of the day, they're going to ask you to give them a little bit of money before they can process all this information for you, right? Or they might ask you, hey, I need your social security number. I need your account number, your bank account information so that I can send you, your payments and things of that nature. They're grabbing information. So be very aware of that in regards to schemes like that. If for whatever reason you have to give some information, if you have to give them money before you get something, that is a sign that something is potentially wrong with that conversation, and you may actually be talking to a bad guy. And the romance scam, you probably heard of this one, you've seen it before. Basically, what they're trying to do here is build a relationship with you, right? A romantic relationship. And then there'll be probably a request for money for a flight. Hey, can you, I need money for the flight. I want to go visit you. There'll be money, ask money for a hotel. I landed and something happened to my hotel. Can you give me some money? I got to pay for this hotel now and then you send them some money there. And before you know it, you have quite a bit of money that you've given to somebody who's sitting across the wall in their computer, faking to be somebody else so that they can get some money out of you. Okay. quick observations, and I know we have about 5 minutes left, so I will go fairly quickly on this, which is what we can do to protect ourselves. So this is when I was looking at this, what I thought is COVID. It's very simple things. It's like washing your hands, wearing your mask, doing social distancing. So don't open emails from strangers, right? Make sure everything is up to date on your computer. Passwords are strong. If you have multi-factor authentication, dual-factor authentication, something where a text gets sent to your phone or a tool that you can use on your phone to validate, use that. Don't click on strange links. Don't click on bit.ly links that you haven't asked for. Back up your data regularly. And then be smart with your financial information and personal information. Do not give that away. It's yours, and that's what the bad guys want, right? And if you give it to them, they will use that to take money from you or to scam somebody else with that information. So it's important to be very safe with that information. It's better to be protective and not give it out and have to go through other layers of complications to provide that to the person that needs it and make sure there's the right person, than to be too generous and say, sure, I'll give you that personal info, no problem. And then, like with COVID, educate yourself and educate your family and friends. These steps, the way that we talk about emails, the way we talk about scams, the gift card scams, those are things that it is good to talk to other people about and tell them, hey, if you get an email like that in your personal email, be careful. This is a scam that's out there. Okay. So that's what I had for you guys today. And I think we have some time, a few minutes for Q&A, if that's something.
We do. We have a few questions. So our first question, is it possible for the bad guys to use @fullerton.edu email?
It is possible for them to use that. They will probably not be able to send it to your email account, but they can send it to like a Gmail account, to another account out there that you might have. That would be something they could buy. And I don't know if you, Bill, you want to chime in on that, but not to your account at the school, but potentially to other accounts that you might have. I think they could probably try that.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, second question. How come, despite Proofpoint and other email protection, some phishing and spam emails still come through?
That's a good question. And honestly, we're doing the best we can. We are working on this day in and day out, but nothing is perfect. Some will get through. I know your school and your team over there is working really hard to minimize the things that get through, and it's not perfect. That's why layers of protection. That's why having this, checklist that I have here for you guys is also important.
And our last question, what are your thoughts on two-factor authentication?
I think two-factor authentication is the best thing that we can do to protect against that compromised account, right? The one that was shown where somebody phishes your password, right? Now they're not only pretending to be you, but they're actually you or your account, which is the one that's most difficult for your peers to figure it out that it's not really you, and they're very successful. Dual-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication is the number one way that we can prevent those accounts being compromised. So must have if possible, right? If you can do that, have it. And not only for the school, right? For your bank, for all the things that you might have, right? Whatever you use that has dual-factor authentication, eBay, whatever you do, PayPal, for all those things, if it's available, use it.
Great. And another question, if account is compromised, what's the first step that we should do?
If your account is compromised, right, and you feel that your account is compromised, right, or you start hearing, one of your peers said, hey, did you send me this email? And you're like, no, I didn't. And then you look at it and it's sent from yours. The first thing you need to do is go to your security team at the school and have them, help you clean up your computer, do something with your new, create a new password and things of that nature. So I would say, Bill probably has something to do here,
Sure.
especially. Yeah.
So Pablo, the answer to that is please call help desk and help desk will escalate that to the appropriate teams to do the few steps to clean up your environment, whatever device you're using. So that's I encourage either call or email help desk.
Great, thank you, Bill. And Pablo, lastly, may we have a copy of this presentation? One of our attendees, Mary, she thinks it's incredibly informative and would be helpful to have.
Absolutely, I will. I'll give it to you guys. And again, I agree. This is something that you can even go to your friends and family and talk about, right? Maybe grab a few of the slides from here or a few of the examples and have a chat with your friends and family, right? Like we talk about, wear your mask, wash your hands. You can do some of these steps and to protect yourself.
And we have one more last question. Man, this will be it.
No,
What
I got
about
time.
private email accounts? What can we do to prevent that as opposed to just our work email accounts?
Right. So all private email accounts have some kind of protection, right? They will have some kind of spam blocking. Let's say if you got, your Google or Office. So they have their protection, right? So in regards to them, I would say if you can use use dual factor authentication and use these basic steps of hygiene, right? Use strong passwords, don't click on things. If you do get that account compromised, and a compromised account, let's say with your personal email, then I would reach out to that group and say, hey, I think my account's compromised. Change your password as soon as you can. Enable dual factor authentication.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pablo. This has been
Welcome.
helpful.
Right. Well, thank you very much again for your time and for inviting me. I hope I did good enough of a job that I will be invited back next year. I do enjoy
Our pleasure,
it.
yes. Our pleasure. Thank you. And everybody, please remember to complete that survey at the end of this webinar. Thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.